Well, ladies and gentlemen, after the bombshell New York Times poll that had Donald Trump up by one in the popular vote over Kamala Harris, people might say that and say, oh, it's very close. This is normally how it always is. That's not correct at all. Liberals, the smart ones, they know that. And they are freaking out. They're blaming Waltz. They're throwing hissy fits. They're crying. They've been hysterical all day after they see this poll. I mean, this is huge stuff. Alarm bells are sounding in the DNC this morning, and for good reason. You've got people reporting that now it's a blame game with Biden and Harris. All the Biden people wanted Harris to pick Shapiro. Even pollsters now coming out and saying they made the wrong choice with Waltz, who he does have, I guess, a decent approval rating. We all know what's going to happen with Waltz during the debate against JD Vance. They're saying it was the wrong choice. And this poll is seismic, and liberals know it's seismic. New York Times, for them to release a poll just in terms of the general popular vote, you take a look at Trump in 2020 or 2016, he was never up in a single head to head poll against Hillary or against Biden this late, or honestly, probably really at all. Maybe there would have been a few new, I don't even know, because New York Times doesn't poll really early. There were a few polls that had Trump up over Hillary at a certain point, but once it got later into the election season, he was down in everything, the general popular vote, and really the swing states, even states like Florida. With Biden, it was even worse. I mean, Trump didn't lead a single head-to-head popular vote, just overall poll against Biden in the entire election cycle. And so now you get this, and there are some big problems, and liberals are just freaking out left and right. And you look at these numbers with Trump up by one, and you factor in the error, which is normally around 2 points for Trump. So really, he could be up by around three, and that's just the general popular vote. So it gets really, really scary. And we'll have to see what they do when it comes to this debate, because this is an election that right now, if we're to base everything we know off of polling and off of how the Democrats and Republicans have performed the past few cycles, Donald Trump, even according to betting, is the clear favorite. Now, it's not an absurd blowout like Trump's got, like, against Biden back in the early summer where he had like an 80% chance to win, but it is clear Trump has an edge over Harris. And the debates, we'll see how big it ends up being, but it is going to be something that kind of defines this election. You do have that coming up on Tuesday night. I'll be doing a full preview on that. But liberals right now, they're freaking out. They're losing it. You had Obama, who originally didn't even want Kamala. It's understandable why, because, I mean, she had one of the worst approval ratings of any VP, and they were saying they need to remove Kamala because she's weighing Biden down. When they were obsessed with Biden, they were like, oh, Biden's the only one that can beat Trump. Remember when they were saying that? They don't say it anymore because, I mean, Biden's just a blubbering old person. I mean, I think he's on another vacation. No. To be fair, remember, Biden had that interview where he sat down at the kid desk. It's like a set behind him. It's not even in the White House. It's like they put up the set. It's like Hollywood. It's all fake. And he sits down at the kiddie table and he has to help himself up. He has to push off of the table to even stand up. And they were like, oh, Biden's the best thing ever. And even after the horrible debate, you still had some of the people, how dumb these people are, supporting Biden. But then Obama was even saying, you people are just, this is absurd. He's gone. Get him out. And then they told Biden, they said, listen, old man, you need to step aside or we're going to 25th Amendment you. And Biden, people are like, well, will Biden stand up for himself? He can barely think straight anyways. I mean, this is tough to see, but he steps aside. And then they put Harris in when really Obama didn't want Biden to endorse Harris right after Biden put out that letter dropping out. And then Biden endorses Harris. And then they ask Biden when he's getting off the plane, sir, I mean, what happened? You said you gaslit everyone here in the country. You said you were fit for the job, and now suddenly you're dropping out in the span of a day. I mean, you were doing interviews. Remember they made Biden do like all those interviews? And he's like, oh, I'm totally fit. They did it with Stephanopoulos. He did another interview with Lester Holt. And then Biden just laughs because that's Biden's defense mechanism. Whenever he gets asked a question, he just has to laugh. They tell him just laugh because it seems good. And now with Kamala Harris, we saw her getting off a plane a few days ago. They've told her, you need to have something in your ears. You need to make up some excuse. And at one point it got so bad, she was getting off a plane. She has the earplugs in, the earphones. And then on top of that, she's taking a phone call and it's all totally fake. So it's like she forgot she had the plugs in and she was fake on the phone to try and avoid talking to the press, because the Democratic strategists see that and they're like, look, every time you go by these people, you can't answer any questions. Anytime you open your mouth, it's not a good thing. So we don't want you answering questions, but it looks bad in terms of optics when you just ignore them. So pretend like you're taking a fake phone call, and so that's the new strategy. But we can all see through it, and so this is why this is so key with Trump being up and Democrats. There are reports. I'm sure we're going to get some other stuff that has come out that Democrats are just they're eating each other. I mean, you've already got the really far left ones that hate Harris. Harris has said, we will be supporting Israel, and that's a big, big issue. Even after pampering those people by not picking Shapiro because of the whole Israel Palestine situation, with Shapiro criticizing all of the Palestine liberal kids at all the major Ivy League schools and stuff for what they did, their protests and everything like that. And they were like, look, you can't choose him because he's, I don't know, racist, or honestly because he's Jewish. That's what they said. And so they didn't pick him, they picked Waltz. But now you're seeing the ramifications of it materialize in the form of bad polling data that we haven't seen since Trump's been a candidate in a head-to-head matchup against a Democrat. We've never seen this. We've never seen Trump with a lead in a New York Times poll this late in the cycle. We're 2 months before the election, and we've got Trump. All the indicators say he's going to crush Harris in this debate, even though the Democrats will cope and say that she won because they're going to compare her to Biden and say that she was better than Biden, so that means she wins. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what they'll do. They're like, well, she was better than Biden. But I mean, I don't know how she can win a debate. She has no policy, but I mean, she did endorse Trump's border wall. So, I mean, she can at least talk about that. No, it'll be all right. For at least for Kamala, she can talk about how she endorsed Trump's border wall and how we need to finish building the border wall. So that should go well. That should help her win the debate against Trump. But you can see we've got new models now. This is a 50-50 race. Well, no, this is because this model doesn't factor in the weighing. See, you've got like Nate Silver. His model factors it in. He weighs it. You have to understand the polls underestimate Trump. That's why some of these models have Trump at like 65% chance at this point, because if it's tied, Trump is really winning. If Trump is down by 2, Trump is really winning. If Trump is down by 1, Trump is really winning. If Trump is down by 3, 4, sometimes even 5 points, Trump never loses. He always wins. And this has been proven time and time again. And then they say, well, what about 2020? Well, yeah, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg did say that Trump was going to win. And then they told us to censor it or else Trump was going to win. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg said we had to censor it. They pulled the plug on the story. They told us to censor it. And Trump was headed towards another victory. And Trump won the primaries in 2024. He was going to win in 2020. He won in 2016. This is what Trump does. And especially against someone like Kamala Harris. I mean, this is a situation. We haven't seen a situation like this. This is an incumbent president who was the VP to Obama, the first black president for 8 years. And then he takes over, and you have the 2020 election where he doesn't campaign at all. He uses COVID as the excuse. We now know that really with COVID or not, he just wouldn't have been able to draw crowds. That's the main problem with the Democrats, and we're seeing it with Kamala Harris. She can have rallies. I don't think it's necessarily because, this is another thing with Kamala Harris that's important to understand. It really seems like she has no clue what she's doing. And the same thing for Biden, because you remember when it was reported that Biden was spending 10 days at Camp David preparing for the debate with Trump. I thought that was a joke. I still remember the first time that I saw that on X, and I was like, that's gotta be there's no way it was 10 days. But no, it was like he went on Monday to Camp David, and then that full week, and then the next 2 days, and then the debate was Wednesday. So it was Monday through the next Wednesday. And I saw that the first time. I was like, that's a joke. There's no way. He's the sitting president. But it turned out to be true. And then they ran back to Camp David after he was like, he couldn't talk during the debate. And they start screaming at the top of their lungs, Hunter in jail, and they kept him in, and it was all really ugly. They had to call the fire department. They were screaming so loud. It was like, it broke the desk. They were like windows that were shattered in the house from Jill screaming. So, because she wanted Joe to stay in, she didn't want to lose the power. And then we saw the article, or what was it? The thing came out with Jill Biden, with Jill, and she was like the leader or whatever. It was like an article headline or whatever. But now we've got Kamala, and people don't understand how historic and desperate this is. You've got an incumbent president that you're sidelining for someone that is just not capable. Remember, she had to lock herself in her closet 2 days prior to the convention speech, and they said she locked herself in her hotel room to prepare for the convention speech, and now she barely goes out. She's not doing any rallies before this because it's constant. She has to keep studying and studying and studying for this. But it's like, I mean, what do the cue cards say? It's like, price gouging. It's communism. We need more communism. We need more socialism. We need to make American people weaker. We need to take people's rights. That's the leaked cue cards for Kamala on what she's gonna say. And then she's also gonna say, yes, I have to admit, I endorse the border wall. So this is big stuff. And so listen, if it's 50-50, Trump's winning. If Trump's down by 2, Trump's winning. Trump is winning because it's freedom, and Elon Musk, one of the big mavericks in the world that we've ever seen, has come out as a liberal, as a far leftist, and supported Trump. And all these liberals are coming out now and supporting Trump. And all that they can get is basically the pussy boy himself, Adam Kinzinger. And you've got Liz Cheney, who lost her state by like 75 points. She's a real hero for coming out and supporting communism. And so you look at the two, and we've got, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. I mean, this is a full-blown Republican, actually not even a Republican. This is just the full-blown American super team. And this is what was always going to happen. Good always defeats evil. So that's why everyone's coming together. All the powerful people that are good are coming together to defeat this disgusting virus that has infested the Democrats. And it's so sad what's happened. And now we see it. And now we've got Venezuelan gangs taking over cities, and they say you have to let it happen or you're racist. And so we're not going to let our cities get taken over here in the United States. This is our land, but you can't even say that because apparently it's Native Americans. And now you know how dumb that is, because Native Americans, they didn't even know who it was because they'd fight each other, and different tribes had land, and we don't even actually know who was there first. But no, we're the big bad racists who came in when we were actually able to form a government and form a defense force. But no, we're terrible. So either way, guys, this is the story right now. They're lashing out. They're freaking out. They didn't think this would happen. They thought they'd be in the lead going into the debate, and then they could kind of fake it through the debate, but they're losing. And so there was also a report that Kamala Harris, and this is total cope. Let me see if I can find this. I think this is a lie, honestly. It says Kamala Harris had planned to object, fact check, and directly question Donald Trump while he was speaking during their debate next week. But now, with rules just finalized to mute the candidates when their opponent speaks, Harris advisors are scrambling to rewrite the playbook. So my guess is that they wanted the viral moment, I'm speaking. That's why they wanted it. And then they'll say, oh, it was because we wanted to fact check. That doesn't even work in a debate. That's not how debates work. You don't get to just fact check people and cut them off. She wanted to say I'm speaking. She doesn't get to say it, so now they're pissed and they're throwing a hissy fit. That's basically what's going on here. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.